Welcome everybody to Voices of Service. We're back. This is our second program. Last week, just for those of you that weren't able to join us, was just kind of a chit chat on types of programs that we should have, which led us to today's program. Actually, this is Sue Peterson, still from Michigan. Haven't moved, still there, still working with the famous college mascot Sparty and keeping very busy in my Kiwanis Club with a lot of projects, as you would all know, right? What's different for any of us? I did turn on the closed captioning tonight for anybody who would like to have that. But we're very excited tonight. One of the discussions that we had last week was to talk about bringing on some more of our members and some special projects and, get to meet our friends around the world. And our friend Gail talked to us about Bear and Sarah. And Bear is a member of the River Creek. Did I get that right?
Green River area.
Green River Area Action Club. And Sarah is with the Kent AM Kiwanis Club, and as well as Bear. And we thought that this would be a great opportunity for Bear and Sarah to share their experiences. And Gail, do you want to add anything to that before we turn it over to them?
I don't know what I could add to that. Bear was very active in the Action Club, and we got to know Bear here in the PNW through that. And Sarah, I will just say, because she won't say it, always said she would never join Kiwanis because Kiwanis was going to be just for Bear. And then Bear decided that he wanted to join my Kiwanis Club and several of our members around here, the Kent AM Kiwanis Club, and Sarah went back on her word and decided to join as well. And what I will say is that not only do they do an amazing job with Action Club, but they've been a huge benefit to our Classic Club. And everyone should have two volunteers like Sarah and Bear because they volunteer for everything and just bring the most amazing spirit and energy to everything that they do. And with that, I will warn you, Sarah is a force of nature, so hold on to your seats.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, how do you follow an introduction like that? Thank you so much to both of you for those lovely words. I'm flattered. Bear is honored to be here with you tonight. As I thought about, and I'll just kind of preface everything I'm going to say with this, as I thought about how I wanted to, what I wanted to leave you with from the words that we share tonight, I thought about a speaker much more eloquent than myself who happened to once upon a time be the president. In the 60s, Kennedy made a statement about what he wanted to accomplish, and as a nation, what we wanted to accomplish. And he summed it up really quickly by saying, I'm going to put a man on the moon. Can you see it? You can actually see it right now in your mind's eye. You see his little legs sticking off the side of a round orb that's floating out in space. You can see the man on the moon. And what I want to do tonight is to create kind of some visuals for you that you can take back to your clubs, you can take back in your heart, that you can take back to your community about what it looks like to see this guy in Action Club. I'm going to introduce you to my son. This is Paul Bear Brantley. If you're from the South and you know anything about football, you know about Paul Bear Bryant. We'd like to say that's where it came from. It didn't necessarily. His uncle's middle name is Paul. That's where the Paul came from. And when he was in utero, the ultrasound pictures back in the day looked like just kind of gray outlines. He had his hands up by the top of his head like that. He was my firstborn son, and my 3-year-old daughter looked at that ultrasound and said, "That not a baby in mommy tummy, that a bear in mommy tummy." Well, he was Bear from that day forth, and he is still Bear, and you knew of Bear likely before you logged on tonight, and I'm thrilled that you do. To my point, that's part of that vision I want you to grasp tonight. I want you to see that Bear in that club. I want you to see that man on that moon. Bear's been a member of Action Club for about 10 years. He was born having suffered a stress stroke. He had autism. We don't know which came first, that chicken or that egg, but we dealt with both of those together as he was a little boy. Just before he turned 14, he had a brain infection that landed him in Children's Hospital for an experience that lasted about 2 years. And I don't think Bear minds that I share these stories with you. Cost him about 50% of his brain mass. Richard Ellen Bogan at the University of Washington and its affiliates, including Children's Hospital, are absolute saints and heroes in my book. They got this boy off of everything and back out into society. I share those really unique features about Bear's medical past so that you'll understand what I mean when I say I know what the word support means. I know what it's like to bring a little boy home, brand new, had a really bad APGAR score, and all the support you get from the medical community and getting that little baby up to par. I know what it means to get a little boy that's not audible yet, not verbal yet, at 5 years old into a public school system and hope and scrape and scrounge for the support to create the opportunities that he'll need to be successful in that environment. Sadly, I know what it's like to see my son on life support and what it means for that to hold him steady until that medical community, that pharmacology in our case, can catch up to that infection so those doctors can put him back together. I know what employment support is. I know what occupational support is. I know what verbal therapy support is. I know what a lot of support is. So I want you to know that when we came into a supported leadership program, I kind of had an idea of what I thought I was supposed to be able to expect. I thought it would be a warm environment. I thought it would be things geared toward his particular needs or his particular interests. What I did not expect was how it panned out over the last 10 years. Let me tell you, it panned out in a manner in which he has purpose. He has fulfillment in life above and beyond that which I ever could purchase for him. And I would if I could. I would give absolutely everything to create every opportunity. But I can't do these things for him. I can't create environments where he can be with peers in a manner in which he can create things that are passed out into the community that better people's lives. And he knows it. He understands exactly what those hygiene kits do. He understands. Oh, this is so funny. I have to share this with you. Somebody's transcribing this meeting, Sue, and it just said, confirm your speaking language. I am from South Alabama. Did I tell y'all that? Duolingo doesn't understand me when I try to cheat on the leagues and try to do the English parts too. Anyway, that is hilarious. He's had the opportunity to learn what we call them comfort dolls now, what those dolls are used for and how they can impact not just the child or the patient, but also the team that's trying to find the best way to make that happen. He was that kid one time, right? He was that nonverbal kid in that hospital bed that didn't know why he woke up that way. And now he's on the other side of that. I couldn't have bought that for him. There's nowhere to purchase it. You don't sell it, you give it away. You blue-hearted, good-hearted, loyal Kiwanians give that away. And for 10 years, I watched his purpose grow stronger. I watched the fulfillment of the daily steps he made. And he makes them daily. He counts from one event to the next. He is our calendar. He is my walking billboard. He narrates every step we take. He will keep you on the straight and narrow, Gail. He will make sure that you don't forget. Autism can be a fabulous tool in people's lives when they learn how to hold it by the leash and use it. He's learned how to do that. And he's been allowed to learn how to do that in a Kiwanian community. That's incredible. We have not found that anywhere else. Not that kind of independence, that kind of inclusion. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate that. I don't know how to stop those pop-ups from just popping, so I'm going to see them. So I'm going to stop and say thank you. And I will also say this: if you have any questions or if I'm talking too fast, let me know. I'm okay to be interrupted.
You're touching people's hearts, and that's why you're going to see all that stuff coming through.
Thank you, and I appreciate it. I really do. I couldn't be speaking about anything that meant anything more to me, and I'm really honest with you when I say that. So over the course of those 10 years, as his purpose increased and his life was more fulfilled and he was more involved and there were more things on his calendar and his days got closer and closer together from event to event and his friends got tighter and tighter. That group of Action Club, they know each other. They get all up in each other's business. It's amazing. It's a water cooler, a digital water cooler any day. They're sharing everything. They know everybody's new job. They know everybody's new animal. They know everybody. They are up in it. He's formed that kind of bond. And he feels so strong in that community that he dares now to step out and say, what more can I do? What more can I be? And he got the role as treasurer one year. I wish Rosie was on this. His assigned Kiwanis mentor for the position of treasurer. And Bear does some fantastic things and holds some amazing knowledge, but balancing the checkbook was not going to be one of them without great support. Right? That's a fair way to put it, huh? And Rosie was amazing, wasn't she? He forged a real friendship with her and their monthly meetings and preparation for how he would present the information every month. As that treasury question came up, what do we have and what are we going to do with it?
Yeah.
And so he was emboldened and empowered by that mentorship. And that was a Kiwanian. That was a Kiwanian that said, she wasn't the treasurer of his club. She was a Kiwanian that said, I'm willing to be a part of that. She was a part of the Auburn Club at that time, right, Gail? And she said, I'm willing to be a part of the success of what happens at Action Club. And I'll do that. I'll take on that role extra above and beyond. And I know how busy all of you are. I'm behind the curtain now. I can see it. I know how busy you are. She goes, I'll take on that role. I'll do that. I'll connect. She didn't know him. I'll connect with that fella and we'll create a rapport and I'll figure out what we need to do to make sure that he's successful at those meetings and that he gets that information out to the rest of his team. And she did it without fail. And he flawlessly, and as the year progressed, got more and more fluid with presenting that information and letting her know what he needed by the end of the year to be able to present the right information. Wow, I would never have dreamed my son, not from the time he was born and they gave me that first APGAR score, all the way through the recovery and rehab that happened through Children's Hospital. I would never have dreamt that he would have a pin that says treasurer, but he does, and he did it. And he went on after that to get the next election and the next election, emboldened and empowered in his purpose and his fulfillment. Can you see him in his vest and his blue shirt and his red tie as he stands up to take the nomination of president in his club? The jacket didn't fit. He put on a little weight during COVID, but he had his vest on. Can you see the man on the moon? Can you see them vote? Can you see them cheer? Can you see him absolutely beside himself in ecstatic, egotistical joy that he had won that post? Absolutely. He was thrilled. And not a step was missed throughout all of his experiences that year as he was the president of his club. And they were subtle and they were organic and they were natural. They are who you are and they look like this. We scrounged together donations were made. We bought another jacket and we made it to midwinter. Dog in diapers and everything, but we made it to midwinter. And as we made it into the lobby, Ann Sappington and Shar I'm not going to say it right. Gail, say it out loud. Shar. What's Shar's last name?
Reynolds. Shar
Reynolds.
Reynolds.
And Ann Sappington were sitting at a table in the bistro in the lobby of the hotel as we're coming in with all of our luggage and our puppy in diapers, and it's our first time and we don't know where to go, and we're just all a little overstimulated by the entire experience from the drive down from Seattle to Portland. And Shar looks at us and says, "Come join us. We have a seat for you at our table." That was the lieutenant governor, current and incoming lieutenant governors. Where are we? You know, I mean, let me just step off this pulpit for just a minute and say, as a mom, where are we? Where are we that he is greeted with such joy? Where are we? This is his thing. He had been in Action Club for 8 years. This is his thing. I'm carrying the bags. I take the dog on the walk during the meeting. I make sure that, you know, we have the right ticket for the right event or whatever. I drove, right? I am the appliance, and this is, don't take it the wrong way yet. I am the appliance in this situation. You know how you know when you're an appliance? When's the last time you took a picture of your refrigerator? When's the last time you weren't the one taking the picture? When's the last time somebody stopped you to take the picture? It applies. Don't lose that visual. Don't lose that visual. It applies. So we are ambling into the lobby, and Shar and Ann say, "Hey, we've got a seat for you. Sit here, sit with us." Okay, let me just go get the road off of us, and we're going to drop the dog and we'll be right back down. Seat saved. However long it took us, I don't know. Seat saved. We got back to the same seats. It was in that lobby that night, randomly, synergistically, divinely, you pick, that Bert West walked through the lobby up to that table, sat down next to Bear. And at that table that night, these two men formed a bond that will never be broken. Bert was the reigning international president that year, and these two guys were going to be presidents together. And every step that Bear took for the remainder of his presidency, he took in a Stetson. Now, not the hat that Bert wears. You can look at his label as, but Stetson cowboy hat Bear wore for every other step he took that year, because he felt, he was completely convinced that his position as president of his Action Club was to represent Bert West and the international presidency in every step he took as the president of his own club. And Bert supported him. Bert supported him through little emails and little Facebook messages, and Bert supported him, looking him up. How many of you already knew Bear's name before you ever met Bear tonight? Bert West had an awful lot to do with that. And it came, that introduction, that organic opportunity for rapport came in that very organic, natural, instinctual move made by a lieutenant governor and an incoming lieutenant governor to offer a seat to this Action Club member and his weary mom right in off the road. I share that really humble experience to say every experience we've had has been that inclusionary. Every experience we've had has been that fluid and that warm and that welcoming as we've made our way through the steps of involvement in the Supported Leadership Program Action Club. Created such leadership in Bear that not only did he have a stellar year, and Jackie Sue could probably talk about, and Rita talk about the impact that Bear worked really hard to have the year that he was president, but he's maintained that sense of leadership in his club. And stepped out to get involved in the activities of, as Gail put it, classic clubs in his area. I was absolutely floored to learn that he was welcome as a member in a classic club, that was even an option for him. And it didn't happen with any fanfare, and there wasn't any petitioning, and we didn't have to go get any, we didn't have to ask any questions. He got an invitation and he said, let's go to this. And we did, and they meant it. And I'm going to be honest with you, Gail. I'm going to be honest with you, Rita, two of my club members that are in the room tonight. I really did pull Rita aside at a park cleanup and said, be honest with me, is there a misunderstanding here? Has he gotten this? Is he welcome to hang out? Is he welcome to just be part of the park cleanup and be here when it works? And, I don't want to step on anybody's toes, and I don't really understand. And everybody said, no, we meant it. If he wants to be a member, come on, he can be a member. He's fully welcome to be part of this. And he's flourishing, Gail. He's flourishing, Rita. He's flourishing, Nicholas, as a member of a classic Kiwanis club. He couldn't have done that 10 years ago. He couldn't have been a member of Kent AM 10 years ago. It wouldn't have worked. If he had shown up for every park cleanup, if he had baked the best potatoes for potato bar night, it would never have worked for him to plop down into a classic Kiwanis club and be at all successful. It would have been a failure. It wouldn't have felt right. It wouldn't have worked. He would not have been prepared. But he had been supported for upwards of 10 years, being prepared to be a member of his community, to fulfill a role in a classic club in his community, to understand the programs, to understand the opportunity, to understand the purpose and the fulfillment he can find in that. He needed that leadership support to be prepared to have this opportunity. I told you I felt like an appliance a lot of times. There's a whole nother level of support that Kiwanis, specifically through Action Club, offered me that has led to my membership. And I say this proudly. Cheryl was the first human being that ever looked at me eye to eye, pointed her finger and said, when are you going to join? And I said, never, because it's Bear's events. I don't want it to be my thing he gets dragged to. I want this to be his thing. But Cheryl was the first person that really leaned over and said, when are you going to join? And so I always credit her with the fact that I did finally, as Gail said, go back on my word and join the club that Bear had decided to join as well. Because of the outreach that I got in the periphery of just being in the vicinity of the people that were offering the support to my son, there's an incredible amount of support that goes to the families and the caregivers. And I see these people when I go to Action Club meetings, and I sit with Stacy and, how was your week, or how was your month, or Camille? We get to know each other really well too. How was your A1C this month, right? We connect as caregivers, we connect as parents, we connect as appliances. But there's something in the humanity that's offered to those we care for that is more than just, here's the couch for you while they're in their meeting. There is a connection. I had connected with Rita on a really lovely, incredibly soulful level long before I ever considered that I might take Char up on her pointed request that I join. So the outreach is not just in support for the one learning the leadership, but for those of us who are so invested and seeing these human beings successful that we care for, that we drove to the event that night, that we made sure had the right Zoom link before they logged on during COVID, that we made sure understood what the expectation was, or had the opportunity to explain really what that hygiene kit really, where does it really end up after you put it all together. So you are doing more than just creating little once a month, hour and a half long sessions for people to be entertained that might not otherwise have entertainment to attend that night. You're doing far more than that in Action Club. You're creating the opportunity for success in a way that all of the other support efforts that I have experienced don't do it. Nobody else taught him how to turn his respirator on. Nobody else taught him how to teach somebody else how to read. Nobody else taught him how to help somebody else overcome anxiety. But you have taught him to be the past president and uphold the president that year. And Ethan, I thought, had a really good partner for his year as president. And Ethan, who had never been the one willing to even take a role like that, was able to not only take the role that his peers suggested he have because of what they had seen in him, but he did it with their support. He did it with Bear's support, and Bear did it with all the support that he had gotten over the course of those 10 years in preparation to experience his sense of leadership in Action Club. I'm not real sure what the action meant in Action Club. I see the little guy. I'm not real sure. I don't know. Is the little guy, the little head? It's a little figure. It looks human. Is he leaping at Special Olympics tournaments? Is he running to pass out food cards? Is he happy with joy that he's with his friends? I think it could mean all of those things. But what I want you to see when you see that little man is I want you to see that little man on the moon. I want you to see Bear standing behind a podium with Nicholas saying, "Welcome to the Pacific Northwest Conference." He would never, ever have had the opportunity to address such a crowd, to have ever been caught up in a crowd like that he could call his peers, to have had that kind of confidence, had it not been for the openness, the fluid, genuine, organic instincts that just pour out of Kiwanians. So how can I not be a part of an organization like this? My goodness, I witnessed it for 10 years on the inside. And I'm delighted tonight to bring this information to you. I hope you see Bear from now on. Every time you look up at a district podium, I hope you see an Action Club member standing there. I hope you see a Key Club member standing there. I hope you see a Classic Club member standing there. I hope you see a human standing there. All of these opportunities are opportunities that you have made available. And I want you to take a moment to imprint them in your mind as visuals. So when you go back out into your community, Carolyn, when you go back out to that Action Club, I want you to see them. I want you to see what they're doing. And I want you to communicate that, not just if there's this club that reaches out. That's great. That's great. What do we call that? Language salad. That's beautiful. We have to have that in our, our bylaws, and we have to have it on our mission statements. But what are they? They are people that are putting together comfort dolls for children in hospitals. They are people who are driven with purpose, who are fulfilled in their purpose, and are fulfilling exactly the same purpose of humanity at exactly the same measure that everybody else does that operates in that mindset. So I'd love to offer you any opportunity to ask questions tonight. What did I hit you with? About a good 25 minutes. Take a breath.
Take a breath. That was amazing. And I think many of us are sitting here going, the minds are processing, but the tears are flowing.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you offered us tonight really hits back to who we are and what we do as members of our Kiwanis family.
Thank you.
And the things that you have said, I mean, I have goosebumps. It's it's just so rewarding, and it's honorable to be involved in an organization that provides this kind of support to our members and their caregivers and their families and everyone that we belong to. And this is a story that I will share, I will treasure. And Bear, we're so happy that you're here, and maybe we'll give you a chance to, maybe they can we can give you a chance to answer some questions, but this is just amazing.
Hey, Debbie Myers, we just saw you join the chat. Debbie
Perfect.
Myers was our link to Action Club. One of the supports in Bear's life is supported employment. Supported employment of the last 10 plus years has been with the South King County Activities Center, better known as SCAC, right down there in Tukwila on Russell Road, just outside of Seattle. And he's had an amazing opportunity to work in several major league stadiums, which sports are his thing. So he's worked for the Sounders. He's worked for the the Seahawks. He's worked for the Mariners.
And a couple of concerts.
He's done some concerts and big trucks and all kinds of stuff, huh? And that came through the supported employment opportunity. Debbie, tonight my focus was on support and what support meant for us. So supported employment, and it was that introduction to Debbie for Bear
that Nicole Evans did for me a long time ago.
Nicole Evans, also a Kiwanian friend, a current Kiwanian in another location. His DDA case manager introduced him to support employment through SCAC, and SCAC introduced him to Action Club. And so that's how it happened for him about 10 years ago. Bear's 34. So he was in his, we're going to say early 20s, since it wasn't quite mid 20, right? He was 24 when he first was introduced to support employment with Debbie. Yeah, and SCAG.
Your life journey is so inspirational and moving. And I love the fact that Kiwanis and the K family has embraced you, found a home there. My question maybe isn't for you, but for others. I know in my experience with our Action Club, a lot of times there's a barrier because it's hard to find enough members to drive and pick up the members of the Action Club, to take them to the meeting place, as well as then to pick them up after the meeting and take them back and everything. I can get people to come to our social gatherings. I love when we take our Action Club to Christmas at the zoo and they get the marvel over the whale and dolphin pavilion. And then I love in the spring, we usually take them to dinner, and then they go and really beat the bejesus out of me when we play duck pin bowling, and they have great joy at my expense or whatever. But it's really difficult for regular meetings to get the transportation lined up. So I didn't know if anyone on the call has ideas on how to get more of our members engaged in making sure that we can get folks to these meetings that are vitally important for their social well-being, as well as their ability to give back to others and feel that warm glow in the heart like we all have doing service.
I can tell you that the members in Bears Club that are the most active, the ones that we can just probably count on are going to be there every week, are the ones with providers that drive them, right? We also have a shared public transit kind of situation. I know a lot of places don't have that. That's specifically geared for members of disabled community. So a few of them come on that, but the majority of the regular every month, they come with their care provider, the person who is, and it's not, I'm rare that I'm the parent. Most of them are not parents. I would suggest, and I've kind of hinted at this to a couple of people in the past, I would suggest that there is a reason to reach out to providers. So I don't know if it's have the Action Club, but providers, here's your pullout over here. What is that pullout for them? I think there's a lot of information that could be imparted. I know I learned an awful lot when I got to the point where I was going with Baird to conferences, to convention. I was sitting in rooms that were not, at that point I wasn't a member, so they weren't really designed for me to hear that information, but it was, oh, really? oh, well, I'll ask about that, right? And so then I would go run back and ask, what do you know about this, or how did that work out, or why don't they do that anymore? Somebody mentioned, I mean, the way we used to do it is never the way we still do it, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And so I think there's actually, I've thought that, for instance, for conferences, convention, if there was a day group of Action Club members that got to say, come down to Portland where we have ours, come down to Portland for the day, and they get to be there for a specific event of that day, whatever their pullout is going to be. Who are those providers that are coming with? And could you encourage, sure, you could put a van together and 1 or 2 people bring 8 or 10, but could you encourage the one-on-one provider to come with that person so that they could come to their own pullout? I think I could give them some information just out of what I've learned about how to prepare their person that they take care of, that they assist, that they support, how to be more supportive in terms of helping them be part of Action Club. There are some volunteer efforts, I think, that if we could get the provider, that's what we refer to ourselves as, if we could get the provider on board, if we could get the provider more knowledgeable. And I think sometimes Bear is a walking calendar. He will keep Rita's schedule for her. He already keeps Gail's. But not everybody is that way. So, so I think I love those smiles of affirmation. He probably keeps Jackie Sue's, but she doesn't know it. But not everybody has that kind of keep it to the calendar, and so they need somebody to be that person for them. I'm not sure how the information necessarily gets to me if I'm dropping them off at the door and then they're responsible for getting it back out to me in a timely manner. And that's not just the color page or whatever, or the notes they're keeping, that I needed something off of that, right? So I didn't even know to ask for that sometimes. And then it would happen that I was late getting him there because he didn't tell me until, well, the meeting started at 4, it's 4 now. Where are we supposed to be? So we've gotten a lot better at it. I've gotten a lot wiser. I've got some cell phone numbers now that I do not hesitate to blow up when I'm completely lost and don't know what to do, like this afternoon. Thank you, Gail, for bailing me out. I did the wrong thing. Thank you so much, Sue, for bailing me out. But, I think that if we could find a way to engage, and it always comes down to, what's in it for me before you can get them to get the takeaway, right? So what's in it for me, get them in the room, and then what's their takeaway? What are they going to walk away with? So if there was a way to create some kind of value for the provider in these opportunities, they might be more willing to come on a more regular basis and bring their person to these meetings and feel more like they're part of it. It's a little bit awkward if you don't think you're part of it, right? And people don't know who you are, Kiwanians. People do not know who you are instinctually until they have been a part of it. So if we could find a way to get them in that room, I don't know. Is there a membership out there somewhere? I don't know. It happened to me. It really did. That's how it happened to me.
Great. That's a great response. Rita has her hand up.
Okay, go Rita.
And Linda.
I do. I have to say the Green River Valley area that used to be Division 32 includes our Action Club and everything we do. And I know that's not true of for every Action Club that exists. So they participate in like our division diaper drive or pajama drive. They do everything with us. And it's about including, as I'm the PNW District Administrator for Action Clubs. And when I talk about it, I always say, while every Action Club member can't do everything, they can all do something. For example, at the Action Club meeting last week, they were putting together Easter treats that the Action Club's giving to the Kent Kiwanis Club senior breakfast. And, not everybody could fold the little paper cup thing into the thing and put thing on, but everybody could do some part of it. And within a very short time, we did all the ones that we had. So I want everybody on this call to think about how you can include your Action Club members, because as you can hear from Sarah, it really makes a difference in their lives.
Absolutely.
you, Rita.
Completely.
Thank you. That's amazing. Linda?
Yeah, I can't tell you how much I'm enjoying this. I've had very similar experiences with Action Club members and their providers. It's an amazing opportunity to be involved with these people. But one of the things that we learned early on, we had started an Action Club in the Ann Arbor area that failed because of transportation, because of lack of a way to get the interested individuals who wanted to be a part of the club could not get to the location. Part of that failure on our part to do our homework in advance in realizing that the participants could not get to the location at the time of day because there was no bus service in the evening, etc. Even in a busy area like Ann Arbor, it wasn't where those adults who were living somewhat independently with some supports and services couldn't get where they were choosing to be based on transportation. So when we started the next Action Club, it was done where we made sure it was on a bus line in a place that was right on the bus line, so that those who had the ability to get there independently using the bus line could, and then others with their supportive individuals, whether that's staff of their agencies or centers or family members. It really opened up the opportunity for that to do so much better and really made a difference. So I think part of it, just like when we're opening a new Kiwanis Club, we really have to look at the area that we're opening the club in. And one way that I've seen it be quite successful is having the meetings somewhere where these potential members are already meeting on a regular basis, whether it's a center that they come to regularly for other purposes or supports. There are so many different ways that this can be done if we do our homework in advance. I really appreciate Paul and his mom, his appliance.
I love you. Thank you.
So much great information. It is heartwarming. And your dedication to your son is unwavering. But I would venture to say that his dedication to you is just as strong. And I love seeing that. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Means a lot.
Thank you. We had a question come in the chat for you. What's your favorite service project?
All.
All of them.
I like them all.
What do you get the most excited about going and doing though?
Senior breakfast is coming up this Saturday.
He's excited for senior Easter breakfast at the senior center.
Rita.
And who else? Debbie, she's on the call. Debbie will be there too.
Myers.
Yeah. Yeah. He enjoys service. He likes being busy. He would prefer to watch a ball game with the broom in his hand, working for the ball team or selling the tickets and cheering with the cool bird as he would prefer it to be an environment like that. But he has never once walked away from a service project and said, I don't want to do that again. He has found his niche, and just like Rita said, they may not all do the same task at a given meeting, but he finds the task that works for him. And I have to say, Debbie's done an amazing job. Rita's done an amazing job in that environment for creating those kinds of opportunities in this particular club that is service related and kind of entrenched and embedded in these classic clubs.
Just tell her, yeah.
Oh, you're reading the screen. I can't get that in my bifocal like that.
Jackie Sue, yeah.
He said, tell Jackie Sue yes. He's reading it, Jackie Sue. I don't know what I'm saying yes to.
The fishing pole.
Oh, the fishing pole. Yes, he's wet that hook.
Yeah.
Sure
So
has.
there, Bear was given a fishing pole or won a fishing pole from Burt West.
Yeah.
Yep. And that was the question was, did you get to use the fishing pole yet?
Yes.
He
did a
did.
lot of camping last summer and did
Yeah.
a lot of fishing last summer.
Yeah,
Wonderful. And it says last week on his birthday, he mowed the lawn at his church.
yeah.
On his
Last Tuesday.
last Wednesday was your
Last
birthday
Wednesday,
day.
yeah.
And on his birthday day, that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
He said the grass needs to be cut at the church. Let's go cut the grass. So we did.
We didn't cut it this week, so maybe next
Yeah,
week.
maybe next week.
So it might be rough, but we should sing happy birthday.
We should.
So
So anybody that wants to join us, ready? Happy
Happy birthday to you. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday.
to you. Happy birthday, dear Bear.
Happy birthday to you.
And many more. Cha-cha-cha.
Any more and shut the door.
Ah, very nice, very nice. He is 20 years out from his
Yeah.
experience at Children's Hospital. So this year specifically, it has felt kind of sweet to celebrate that.
Yeah.
Did he get cake and ice cream? What's his favorite flavor?
All of it.
Did I tell you
All
that
of
that
it.
jacket didn't button? Did I tell you that that jacket didn't button? He likes all the cakes and ice creams, don't you, Bear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah, I want to thank you so much for taking care of Bear for the past 35 years.
Oh,
It-
Nick, thank you.
Inspirational, I mean, the many times I met Bear in our conventions, and it's such a good time we spent time with him. And the many times that we just around him, talking with him, and then having good conversations. I remember last year when I went to visit your division council meeting as a governor, he was right there with the Kent Club and the Green River Action. And then he was just following me all over, talking to me. And then we had such a great evening that evening. And he was taking pictures. He sent me more than 50 pictures last year of that event. I mean, it was just such a fun event. And I really thank you so much. He's such a warm-hearted man. It is just amazing to just hear you and hear your testimony. You don't hear that very often at all. And I thank you for taking good care of him.
We need to get Vicky Pounchy to come.
Oh yeah, we should
Well,
get
on-
get Governor Vicky to come next time. Bear thought the year that you were governor, he thought he was your wife's, the first lady's personal assistant. Always at conventions.
Maria
always.
saying he was.
Yeah, he would get out of the van going in to find out what his chore was going to be.
Yeah,
That's who he was
yeah.
looking for, the first lady. Yeah,
That's what
Maybe
she's
I
standing
might-
right behind me. She said he was all the time.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe I might help Vicky Pounchy husband at convention put kits together.
Help the first gentleman in his
Yeah.
effort. Okay, all right. I
Maybe.
see that. Yeah, I
Good.
can see that happening. I can see that.
I'm sure we're going to see you at Decon this summer, right, Bear?
That's the plan.
D-
That's the
yeah.
plan.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep, in Oregon.
Yep, in Oregon, right in the Grand Ronde Casino.
Yeah.
Yeah, at
Oh,
the casino.
bright lights, 24 hours.
Yeah, bright lights 24 hours.
This exchange should be a pretty good example of what I want you to see, the rapport that he's developed with his governor and the first lady. And that doesn't happen for autistic people very often. When you think about this genuine, kind of me and Bert and the fishing pole. I wish I could have brought some photographs. I wish I could have brought some video. If you'd like to splice some things in, Sue, into this bit, if you want to flesh this out for YouTube a little bit more, I'd be happy to provide any of that. There's
Wonderful.
just some delightful interactions that he's had with people across the Pacific Northwest. And if we count Bert West internationally, over the course of his career in Kiwanis, that have been remarkable for me to watch. Generally, a person with autism doesn't like to be touched, doesn't like to be hugged. There are maybe 5 people in his life that he will let hug them. I'm not one of them. I've never been one of them, but 3 of them are on this call. I'll just toss that way.
Especially Gail Sparrow.
Especially Gail Sparrow, he says. So her picture is the largest right now in front of us. So he's inspired by her antics on the screen. But the photographs of him sitting in some of these convention, meetings, and he's just sprawled out and his arms are on the back of the chairs and he's, big man on campus. I can't buy that kind of confidence for him.
Right.
I couldn't have put him in a course somewhere to teach him that kind of confidence. That kind of
Gail has your
confidence.
question.
Yes,
So
Gail's got a question.
No,
He's
I don't have
watching,
a
Gail.
question. I know
Oh,
you're
yeah.
Well, you
keeping
have your
track. You're a
hand
good
up,
minder
Gail.
for
You have your
everybody,
hand
Bear.
up.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say, because Bear doesn't necessarily like to be touched, you have to wait.
Yeah.
But last year at Decon, was it last? No, it was
No.
last
you-
year at
Two.
Decon. We had a theme, and Bear dressed up in, what was the outfit that he had? But he escorted any women who wanted to walk into the governor's banquet. Bear would escort them in. So
He
at
was
one point,
Chief of Mermaid Security.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chief of Mermaid Security. It was a Greek theme.
Yeah.
It was a Greek theme. He was holding the Triton and escorting the frail mermaids in to their seats. Yeah.
Yep, he did. And at one point, he had Rita and I on either arm, and he escorted us both in to the banquet. So
that's trust.
That's trust.
Confidence. That's purpose.
That's right.
That's fulfillment. I want you to see that man in his black suit with those two babes on either arm, walking in with a Triton in his hand to Nicholas's banquet. I want you to see that man on the moon. That's what I want you to walk away with tonight. It's what it looks like to be thoroughly immersed in Kiwanis instincts.
So I see Debbie joined us. You guys called out Debbie. Debbie, did you want to say anything tonight?
No, I'm just enjoying the story. As a Action Club advisor for many years, and I think the main thing that I always wanted for everyone, and whether it's in my work that I do during the day or Action Club in the evenings, is the inclusion and in service, which is what I like about being a Kiwanian, is the service, is that in service, all people are included. So when Action Clubbers show up and clean the park with someone, with the group, or not only are they included in that project, but then Kiwanis members start to really see all that people can do and be. And so then that starts the ripple, right? The, rock in the pond and the rings going out, is that this has really mattered in people's lives, not just for Action Clubbers, but they get connections to other things too, jobs and churches and all these community things that we take sometimes for granted that we're included in, that some people are isolated from or don't know yet how to be included. And to have Kiwanis be a part of that for the folks that I know and beyond, I think it's just, it's been that way for me too. I didn't know when we first started Action Club how that was going to be. We had visited a club in Issaquah and didn't know much about it. But for some of the folks that I knew at the time, we thought, well, this is pretty cool. And, I've been in Kiwanis and service was the main thing that I feel like I brought to Action Club. And I think that all Action Clubs are unique to the people that, of course, are the members, and it's unique to that. But as an advisor, I think that service has helped people to be so much more included in their communities. So many of the people that are in the Green River Club are also employees. They work somewhere, Lowe's or the games or, other places in the community, and they might not have the same connection that they have through Kiwanis. It's interesting, but yeah, so people are out there doing cool things and they don't need me, their advisor, to do those things. They're doing other things. And in the beginning, things like you talked about, challenging things like transportation, that's a challenge in people's lives, whether they're working, trying to get to church, trying to do, action club. And so I think that's brilliant to be looking at places where people already gather or that they can get to on a bus line or closer. And I think we need to start branching out and thinking more creatively for transportation too, and that we have someone that uses a taxi. It's expensive. We chip in, those kinds of things that we can do to help people to be included. And so, anyways, now I'm rambling, but thank you so much for the opportunity to hear Bear's story, and thank you to Sarah and Bear for sharing the story. So
Thank
We
you, Debbie,
appreciate
for
you,
serving as
Debbie
an advisor.
Myers.
Gail.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what Debbie just said. So during the pandemic, those of us who were stuck at home didn't really do much with our clubs. The club in the Green River area division that did the most service was the Action Club. They had the most, I can't even remember, but it was like they did like scores more, hundreds more hours than all the rest of us put together did, that they did on their own. So that was because of the group of individuals, the group of Action Club members, but it was also Debbie.
It was Debbie that was dropping things off on our doorstep at COVID when we were homebound and didn't leave, and we could put those things together and she would come back by and pick them up off our doorstep. Yeah, it was a concerted effort to make that happen, and Debbie was a huge part of it. But you're right, he was constantly busy all throughout our COVID lockdown.
Great. Like I said, it takes all of us to make it happen. But to be involved in an organization that allows us to happen is just amazing. Bear, Sarah, any last words before we wrap her up tonight? So those of you on the West Coast can go have dinner, I'm sure.
Is there anything you want to say? Any words you want to leave them with?
Yeah.
No? No famous last words?
Yeah.
We are flattered, we are humbled, and we are honored to be a part of this Zoom tonight. This is Mr. Blake, who's crawling up on my shoulder. He goes, must have been an hour. I'm down out of my, you told me to sit here spot. We're flattered and humbled and honored to be a part of this. I cannot say thank you enough to the people that created this opportunity for Bear specifically, and to all of you who support those kinds of efforts to create these opportunities for other people. Think about those images I tried to imprint in your mind tonight. Take them back into your community when you meet that next Action Club member, Carolyn, at your new club meeting. I want you to see that Action Club member up on that podium with their governor opening a session. I want you to be able to see them working in those parks right alongside those classic club members. And I want you to be able to see them being leaders in their own clubs with that Kiwanian mentor as that success agent in the background, right? And I thank you so much for giving us this time to share it. I needed to tell you this. Thank you.
And this is wonderful. Gail, I want to thank you for introducing us to Bear and Sarah. And I'm just honored that you are with us this evening. I hope we have the opportunity to meet someday.
Absolutely.
I will figure out if I'm ever on that side of the coast. I'll be looking you up. I'll be in touch with you. To everyone else that's with us tonight, I hope that you had this is a great program, and I can't thank everyone enough for being with us tonight. I will let you know that once we get the video cleaned up and put out there, I will let you know when that is, and we'll release it for you on my Facebook site. I'll also let you know where it's at. And then as a reminder, next week we have the Key Club International President, who will be here to talk about our 100th anniversary for Key Club. For those of you that know that 1925 is when Key Club started out in Washington, correct? Where's my Washington friends? Yes.
Yes.
So we want to invite, and those of you that are with us tonight that may have stopped in to specifically hear Bear and Sarah, I hope that you'll join us again. Our goal is to do programs like this on a regular basis. We will do some focus with our candidates and stuff like that over the next couple of weeks, but we've got actually we're pretty well booked out through September and October. So we've got some great programs come up. Thank you for being with us. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next Thursday at 8 p.m.